Hey everybody. So what this is 167 quick concepts for League of Legends inspired D&D characters, whether they're PCs or NPCs. Why am I doing this? It's just for fun. This is not meant to be a definitive list of exactly what builds all of these characters should be. I hope that it is a good jumping off point if any of you are looking for some inspiration for a League of Legends inspired character. Me and friends have had a good time actually playing Dungeons and Dragons in Runeterra, and you might too. But you might also just have a character idea like, oh, I want to make a character that is like Samira. How would I do that? Well, this is my recommendation for how you can start with that build. Now, if you are looking for a full, detailed, level 20 build option for your specific League of Legends character, I would recommend the channel Dorans and Dragons, which I found while doing a little bit of research for this video. As far as rules go, I used any official source books, so no homebrew or UA options. Whether a champion is a monster or NPC was entirely up to my whims. There's a lot of consideration for mechanics as far as what a champion does, but sometimes flavor just wins. And I tried to avoid repeats, so, no two human Battlemaster fighters if I could avoid it, but there are a few repeats in here and a few classes and subclasses that are used multiple times because there's 167 different characters. Okay, that's about all I have for an introduction. Let's get into it. We're going to run through all the champions alphabetically. Our first champion is also our first monster. Aatrox uses his sword a lot, but has a few extra tricks. We are going to choose the Devil Titivolus. Ahri is a Vastaya. We're going to use Eladrin as our D&D substitute. We are going to be a warlock, with our patron being the Archfey. Akali is a human. We are going to multi-class rogue, assassin with fighter, Eldritch Knight. Make sure to pick up Fog Cloud. Akshun is going to be another multi-class. We want the Swashbuckler Rogue to 1v1 people with our charm, and we want the Gloomstalker Ranger to be able to patrol the map with a little bit of invisibility. For Alistar, we could have gone with the Monster Minotaur. However, I do like the player character race option of Minotaur, so we are going to go with a Monk Way of the Open Hand to throw around our foes. Amumu is our first gimme monster pick. He is a mummy. Yep, that's what he is. For Anivia, we don't have a big frosty bird in Dungeons & Dragons, but we do have a big frosty dragon. So we're going to be an ancient silver dragon with cold breath and an emphasis on slowing down our enemies. Annie is a child, so we're going to go with Lightfoot Halfling. We're a sorcerer with the Draconic bloodline with an emphasis on fire spells. Aphelios is our first ADC. It was difficult to not make most ADCs human Battlemaster fighters, but we are going to keep Aphelios there as he is going to have a lot of tricks with a lot of different weapons. Ashe is from the Freljord, so we're going to make her a Goliath. She is a fighter, arcane archer, combined with a ranger hunter. Aurelian Soul is an ancient sapphire dragon. This one was pretty easy. Azir is a resurrected human commanding undead slaves. He is going to be a Bone Lord. Bard may have been the most difficult champion to pick a build for. We could have gone with a Bard, but I don't think that actually works for his character. I wound up going with a Starspawn Larva Mage, but I am very interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments. For Belveth, we want something that looks humanoid but isn't and has a bunch of attacks, so we are going with the Marilith Demon. Blitzcrank is a Warforged, that's obvious. I picked Artificer with the Armor subclass because a lot of his power comes through from his own body and his big meaty, well, not meaty claws. I think Brand is more monster than man at this point. We are going to go with the Fiery Flame Skull. Braum is a Goliath from the Freljord. He doesn't wear a shirt, he fights with his hands, so he's a barbarian, and he's tanky, so we are going to go with the Ancestral Guardian. Briar is not a full-on vampire. That's going to be later on in the list. We're a half vampire, so we're going to go with the Dhampir from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. She is a barbarian, berserker, and a monk, Way of Mercy, so that we can get some self-heal. Caitlyn is a powerful ranged fighter with a few tricks and traps. We are going to be a ranger, hunter archetype. Camille is a warforged battlemaster fighter. Cassiopeia is a Theran Medusa. Cho'Gath is gargantuan, purple, and likes eating people, so we are going with the purple worm. Corki is a weird champion and a weird D&D build. We are going to go with the Drake Warden Ranger so that we can ride our flying contraption, and we are going to be an evocation wizard to make sure we can dish out the damage. Darius uses enhanced attacks with his axe. He is a paladin, Oath of Conquest. Diana uses a mix of magic and swordplay. We are going to combine Twilight Cleric with Hexblade Warlock. Dr. Mundo is a giant with a lot of self-healing. We are picking the Frost Giant Everlasting one. Draven is a pretty straightforward character, and we want lots of crits, so we are going to go with a human fighter champion archetype. Echo was an interesting one. I think we want to go with Chronergy Wizard to play up the time magic aspect, but we also want the Artificer with the Battlesmith archetype so that we can use intelligence on our Mace Smacks. Elise fights a lot in a spider form, so we need Circle of the Moon Druid, and we're going with Drow because spiders. Evelyn is a succubus. Ezreal is a human Battlemaster fighter, but we are also going to mix in a wizard with Conjuration School so that we can get some magical damage as well as some quick teleportation magic. Fiddlesticks in lore is an extreme threat to Runeterra. He is a fear demon, and we are going to bestow him with the stat block of Demogorgon. Fiora is an expert duelist. We could go with Battlemaster fighter, but for this one I'm feeling Bard, College of Swords. Fizz is a Water Genasi Storm Sorcerer. Galio is magic resistant and uses slam attacks. We are going with a Stone Golem. For Gangplank, I could not think of a good way to execute his barrels in D&D. Let me know in the comments if you have a build that works different. However, this one we're going with High Flavor, Rogue, Swashbuckler, and Paladin, Oathbreaker. Garen is our classic do-gooder paladin, slay an evil, so he's a human paladin, Oath of Vengeance. Nar is a goblin. We are going to go with Barbarian and the newer Path of the Giant. This is a really cool build. This is a character I would play. Gragas has a cool beard, so he's going to be our dwarf, and he's an artificer alchemist. Graves is a human rogue, arcane trickster. Gwen is a warforged paladin, Oath of Devotion. Hecarim is an Armonite demon. Heimerdinger is another obvious build. He is a rock gnome artificer artillerist. Hui has a lot of different spells. We need to make him a wizard, and we are going to give him the Evocation School. Alawi is an interesting one. In the end, I went with a multi-class build, Warlock, Patron is the Fathomless, and Paladin, Oath of Conquest. Aurelia's swordplay is more magical than physical, so I think the Blade Singing Wizard fits her very well. There are 3 plant champs on this list, all of whom could have just been treants or other plant monsters, but I decided to go with the Firbolg race since they are basically tree people. For Ivern, we want to go with Druid, Circle of the Shepherd, so we can command our conjured friends. Janna has a lot of magic and really likes her shields. We are going to go with an Air Genasi Abjuration Wizard. Jarvan 4 is going to be a human Battlemaster fighter. I struggled to come up with a race for Jax since we don't really know what his race is in the game. I wound up going with Half-Orc. We're going to be a Paladin and Oath of the Watchers because we are sworn to fight the Void. For Jace, we have a multi-class that doesn't make a lot of sense in-game mechanics, but does make sense as a flavor win. We want an Artificer Battlesmith combined with a Paladin of Devotion. For Jhin, I went with a human Psy Warrior fighter. I'm not so sure about this one, it just felt right, but tell me in the comments if you have something different. Jinx is a human fighter, Arcane Archer, get it? Cassante is a human fighter, Rune Knight archetype. Kaisa is a weird one, but one I stand by, Hexblood Artificer Armorer. Callista is actually a pretty straightforward fighter. She is reborn, and we are going to go with the champion archetype to get more crits. Karma is a human Divine Soul sorcerer. Karthus is a lich. Kassadin is a human Hexblade warlock and Aberrant Mind sorcerer. Katarina can be built a lot of different ways. For me, I want to maximize the teleportation power as well as the enhanced attacks. We are a Ranger Fey Wanderer archetype. Kale is an Aasimar Paladin of Vengeance and Warlock of the Celestial Patron. Kane is a Tiefling Zealot Barbarian and Shadow Monk. Kinnan is a Forest Gnome. We want to get the jump on our foes and attack them with weapons and lightning, so we are going to be a Tempest Cleric and Gloomstalker Ranger. I wish we had more buggy creatures to choose from. I wound up going with an Umber Hulk for Kha'Zix, but you could also do some sort of Gloomstalker Thri-kreen build. Kindred is a Satyr Beastmaster Ranger. Kled is a Goblin Cavalier Fighter. Kog'Maw is a Spectator. LeBlanc is a human wizard with the School of Illusion. Lee Sin is the most monk. He is a human monk, Way of the Open Hand. Leona is an Aasimar Paladin. I wound up going with the Oath of Redemption. Lilia is a Centaur Druid, Circle of Dreams. I wish we had an ice-focused player build, but for Lysandra, we're going to go with the Ice Devil. Lucian is a human, but actually not a fighter. I'm going to go with Cleric and the Divine Domain of Light so that we can spam Sacred Flame and other blast magic. Lulu is a Forest Gnome, Wild Magic Sorcerer. Lux is a human Celestial Warlock. Malphite is no mere Earth Elemental, he is a living mountain, so we are going to go with the Zaratan. Malzahar is a human warlock with the Great Old One patron. Maokai is an interesting one. He's going to be a Firbolg, he's going to be a druid, Circle of the Shepherd, so that we can command our little plant creatures, and we're also going to go with Barbarian, since we're a hand-to-hand fighter. We are Totem Wolf, so that we can give our allies advantage. Master Yi is a human samurai fighter. Milio is a Lightfoot halfling. He likes fire friends and he likes healing. This subclass was made for him. We are going to be a wildfire druid. Misfortune is a human battlemaster fighter and swashbuckler rogue. For Mordekaiser, we are going to go with the Archdevil Bale. Morgana is an Aasimar warlock. Patron is the Archfiend. Nefiri is an underworld Cerberus. Nami is a Triton druid, Circle of the Land. We are choosing Coast as our land type. Nasus was a difficult one. We don't really have a giant dog demon thing, so I wound up going with function over form. The Arenyes is capable of locking down foes and hitting with enhanced attacks. Nautilus was much easier. He is an Iron Golem. Nico is a Changeling Cleric, Trickery Domain. Nidalee is a human moon druid. Neela is a human Hexblade Warlock. Nocturne is a Shadow Demon. Nunu and Willump is a fun one. We actually have an Abominable Yeti in the Monster Manual, and for Nunu, we're going to be a Lightfoot Halfling Bard, College of Lore. Olaf is a Goliath Barbarian, Path of the Zealot. Oriana is a Warforged Sorcerer, Clockwork Soul. Ornn is a Dwarf Forge Cleric. Pantheon is an Aasimar Battlemaster Fighter. Poppy is a Stout Halfling Paladin, Oath of the Crown. Pike is a Revenant. Kiana is a little bit magic and a little bit martial. We are going with a multi-class human, Ranger, Fey Wanderer, and Druid land, type Grassland. Quinn is a human scout rogue, combined with a little bit of Drake Warden Ranger so that we can fly around on Valor. Rakan is an Eldrin Bard, College of Glamour. This one is very fitting. I was going to declare Rammus a dragon turtle until I remembered that turtles exist. So he is going to be a turtle barbarian with the Battle Ranger subtype. The Battle Ranger does describe it as being a dwarf-only subclass, but talk to your DM, I'm sure they'll let it slide. Rek'Sai is a Boule. Rel is a Graviturgy wizard and cavalier fighter, human. Renata Glask is a human alchemist artificer. Renekton was another difficult one. I wound up going with the Hezru demon. Rengar is a Leonin Gloomstalker ranger. Riven is a Kensai monk. Rumble is a rock gnome armorer artificer. Rise is a high elf conjuration wizard. Samira, we are going to go with a gunk build. This is a human Kensai monk with a gun for the weapon, And we are also going to augment that with Battlemaster Fighter. This is one I would be very interested to play. Sejuani is a Goliath Cavalier Fighter. Senna is a Reborn Grave Cleric. Seraphine is a human bard. She's a support, but she packs a surprising punch, so we are going to go with College of Valor. Set is half Vestaya, so we're going to go with half elf. He's an open hand monk and a Battlemaster Fighter. Shaco is a Carrionet. Shen is a human Eldritch Knight Fighter. Shyvana is a Dragonborn Sorcerer with the Draconic Bloodline. Singed is a weird character with a weird build. We're going with an Alchemist Artificer and a Barbarian Totem Spirit Eagle so that we can run fast. Scion is an Ogre Zombie. Sivir is a human Hunter Ranger Battlemaster Fighter. Skarner is a Stone Giant. Smolder is a young Copper Dragon. Sona is a human bard, College of Creation so that we can pick up Motes of Potential. Soraka is a satyr, cleric, life domain. Swain is a tiefling necromancy wizard. Silas is a human barbarian, Path of the Storm Herald. Syndra is a human lunar sorcerer. Tom Kench is a Banderhob. Talia is a human druid, Circle of the Land, mountain. Talon is a human assassin rogue. Tarek is an Aasimar peace cleric. Teemo is a forest gnome scout rogue and Circle of Spores druid. Thresh is a chain devil. Tristana is a rock gnome artillerist artificer and battlemaster fighter. Trundle is a dire troll. Tryndamere is a Goliath barbarian, totem of the bear. Twisted Fate is a human arcane trickster rogue. Twitch is a goblin rogue arcane trickster and Circle of Spores druid. Bonus points if you can get him to become a were-rat. Udyr is a Goliath monk, way of the four elements. Urgot is a big crab man. We're going to go with the big crab demon Glabrezu. Varus is a tiefling arcane archer fighter. With Vayne, we have another perfect fit. This is a human monster slayer ranger. Vygar is a goblin evocation wizard. Vel'Koz is a beholder. Vex is a goblin shadow sorcerer. Vi is a human armor artificer with battlemaster fighter. Viego is a classic death knight. Victor is a human artillerist artificer and evocation wizard. Vladimir is a straight-up vampire. Volibear is a god and a living storm. We are going to go with the Elder Tempest elemental. Warwick is a souped-up werewolf, so we are going with the Loup-Garou. Wukong is an Eladrin Echo Knight fighter. Xayah is an Eladrin Soul Knife rogue. Zareth is a living spell lightning bolt. Xin Zhao is a human paladin Oath of Devotion. Yasuo is a human samurai fighter and war magic wizard. Yone is an overtuned mess who really likes critical hits, so we're going with a triple multi-class build. He's reborn, he's a bear barbarian, he's an assassin rogue, and an Echo Knight fighter. Yorick is a half-orc warlock, patron is the undead. Yuumi is a Tabaxi bard, College of Eloquence. Zac is a fun one, he is a plasmoid monk, way of the astral self. Zed is a human shadow monk and Echo Knight fighter. Zeri wants to maximize lightning damage output. We're going with a human Tempest Cleric and Storm Sorcerer. Ziggs is a goblin, alchemist artificer, and evocation wizard. Zillion is a high elf chronergy wizard. Zoe is an Aasimar wizard, Circle of the Stars. And finally, Zyra is a Firbolg, Circle of Spores druid. And that is 167 League of Legends champions D&Dified. Thank you so much for watching all the way. Let me know in the comments if you had any favorites, things that you might want to play around with, or if you had any disagreements and you think you have a better build. I'll be interested to hear about it. Once again, thank you so much. Have a Nat 20 day. Bye-bye.